and Steve Smith, and then Luke Kuechly and Pepper's got to be the.
Yeah, it's probably the four.
That's got to be the four because you got
That's
two
yeah.
offense too. Because CMC is great, but he's not over Steve Smith, and you got to have the GOAT quarterback of the organization on the organization's Mount Rushmore. Like,
I mean, unless you're the Bears, because then it's like, well, who's the
well,
GOAT?
who is your quarterback?
All right.
Fuck the Bears. I don't know why this is a Bear roasting session.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's another great day to discuss other people's excellence. I am the unforgettable one himself, Mr. Brett Carroll. Charles is always daydreaming, and we're two guys that like BSN at work. We're back. Another week of football. This was an interesting week. A lot happened. Uh, just as a side note, you would think on a bye week for my Steelers that this would be a nice relaxing weekend, right? That's the one good thing about the bye. You could just watch football and be cool and have a good old time. No, this was the most stressful weekend of the season. I mean, it was just ridiculous. Freaking all the teams in the AFC North won. My fantasy teams both just laid in. It's not that we lost; it's the way we lost. Just piss. This weekend sucked. I can't even hold you. This weekend sucked, and so yeah, it's just bad. It's just bad. I'm not even going to get into the Steelers. A lot happened, even though they did not play. A lot happened with them that I'm pissed off about. But I'll wait till next week to talk about that because Charles hasn't been here for the last 2 weeks. So I know he wants to talk about his Giants. Let's just get into it. And yeah, here we go. It's been
Oh
a
wow, I thought I had to wait again.
no. We're gonna get right into it. It's been a tale of two cities. Both New York City teams played in thrillers on Sunday. One of them was a magical ending for the other one was another heartbreak. At 3-3, the Jets are still somehow still in the playoff hunt, right in the thick of things. They're still there. At 1-5, the season is looking bleaker and bleaker for the Giants. How do we think the season will end? Charles, before I let you go, I said this last week, so I'm gonna just reiterate now that I have you here. I think for the Giants is a hard situation because I know you and other Giants fans are like, screw it, let's just tank, let's just see if we can get Caleb Williams, stuff like that. The problem is I don't even think you guys are in a great position to do that. There's other teams that are ahead of you already, including the Bears. If the draft were to start today, they have the first and second pick in the draft. Um, and not only the teams ahead of you, I think they have an easier path, if you will, to get that number one pick or than you guys do. So I don't
Wait, did
and
the
actually
Bears have the
we're
first and second pick, or the Panthers have the first and second pick?
no the Bears. Remember the Panthers traded up to get the number one pick last year. So right now the Panthers don't even look like they can win a game, let
Yeah,
alone win two. So they might have the first pick in the draft, which will go to the Bears. And if Justin Fields is out,
I
they
don't see why Justin Fields would be out if given how much quarterbacks have been given leash, and I feel like it's more the Bears than the coach. And this is coming from somebody with Daniel Jones, so I understand. I understand
well I'm talking about
the
right now
risks.
he's physically out. He has a dislocated thumb.
But I mean, like to give up on him so soon. But anyway, in New
Well,
York,
you know, it's one of those
I want
things
to
where
give the
they didn't
Jets a
draft him. You know what I mean? They didn't draft him, so they're not tied to him.
yeah, but the Bears have been so bad that that'll be an excuse forever because they suck. They fire the coach. They get a new coach. This isn't our guy. They get rid of that guy. They suck. They get a new coach. This isn't our guy. They've done it like the last four times. The last four starting quarterbacks ever since Jay Cutler. That's what they've been doing. But anyway, for the Jets, I want to give them some props because give Robert Saleh his props as a head coach. That team has never given up on him. They've been playing in every game, and I mean that like all the players have been engaged. That defense talked a lot of shit. They're not the '85 Bears, but they certainly have heart and they're not giving up. So there is, there's a lot of space in between bad defense and the '85 Bears. They're far from a bad defense. I got them in two fantasy leagues. Um, and Zach Wilson still bad, but props to that kid because I was giving him crap last time I was on here, saying you have to deal with that criticism, and more props to him because when I see him, when I want to torture myself with Jets games, he doesn't look good, but he also doesn't look scared. So I don't, take that for what it's worth. That he's out there giving it his all. With the Giants and tanking and Caleb Williams, uh, man, Sunday night was an annoying type of game, wasn't it? Because the defense played the best they've played all season. I think that was the worst Bills game since 2018, like statistically speaking. And the defense was on there. We still couldn't get to the quarterback, but the pressure was on. We were holding them from getting points. If Tyrod Taylor doesn't call a stupid audible at the end of the first half, we kick a field goal at the end of the game, and we probably win despite being 15-point underdogs. So it was a tough game. And as you know, I'm not above turning the fucking game off when it's a blowout, it's an ugly game. Like, I didn't watch the whole Cowboys 40 point nothing win. You know, I'm not going to torture myself. So I was hoping the Bills would do what everyone expected, so I could enjoy my Sunday night. But no, I had to be tortured through that slog of a game. I love defense, but it's a slog of a game full of injuries, mostly on my team side. More injuries to an already injured offensive line. We brought Justin Pugh back. Like, he even said straight off the couch. Now he's signed to the 53-man roster as of this recording. All that to say that I don't see anyone yelling at the rest of us for acknowledging that the Giants offense didn't look like we missed Daniel Jones. It didn't look like there was a $35 million difference between Tyrod Taylor and Daniel Jones. Tyrod Taylor gets all the rightful criticism, and Daboll's right to yell at him on the sideline for that stupid ass audible. But besides that, he made better decisions with the same terrible offensive line that Daniel Jones has had all year, only more injured.
Yeah, but it's not like y'all put up a bunch of points though, so I don't get that.
Okay, but we're not putting up points with Daniel Jones. So like, I'm not saying it's earth-shattering offense I saw. It was a more competent, more consistent offense. And just saying that invokes that reaction. Well, it's not like you put up exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like our offense isn't that good. And if everyone's going to be like, well, we have no weapons. Well, the offensive line is the worst ever. And that worst ever offensive line gets 2 more injuries. And Tyrod Taylor looks more competent, or at worst, at equal with Daniel Jones's best this season. Like, because we can say what we say. He has 2 touchdowns there in 1 half against the Cardinals. That's all. That's his entire positive offense in weeks of NFL football. So it doesn't matter if you're going to do, well, he didn't even put up points. Neither has Daniel Jones in most of these games. Like, what are we talking about here? And it just annoys me, because I'm not sitting here saying cut Daniel Jones or something like right this second. I'm just saying, if we win the next 3 games and we're 4-5, that's more damaging to the future of this franchise than if we lose the next 3 games, because it's false hope. We're going to get a worse draft pick, because I listen, if we go on some beautiful Disney-like run and towards the end of the season, we only have 6 losses, I will eat my words. I will be a happy Giants fan, and I'll gladly say, wow, they turned it around. And as I did last year, which you saw, I will give the people their props. I was defending Daniel Jones' performances last year because he was winning games. I am not cheering against this man. I am just keeping it real and telling you I have not seen any reason to believe that there's not better options out there. And all I'm saying is Tyrod Taylor can play at the same level, and there's a $35 million difference between their pays. What are we doing? That's all I'm saying. We're not that good. We're going to pay him $40 million for something that a quote unquote career backup can do. That's what we're doing. Because everyone's like, he didn't even score a touchdown. The only 2 touchdowns. He has 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions on the season. What week is this? 7? It's week 7? Okay.
It will be, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. It's week 7. He's missed 1 game, so that's 5 games. That's 5 games we have to choose from. He has 2 interceptions. 2 interceptions. I mean, 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. 2 touchdowns, and they came in the same half of football. That lone win. So just like me and Brett get on our high horses with our football teams and say, yo, we're not here for playoff wins once every couple of years. Like, that's not what our franchises are meant to do. Yeah, keep that energy with Daniel Jones, man. I yelled at Brett about a team that I love, saying, yo, this ain't year 1 of this. And I'm keeping that energy now with the Giants and saying this ain't year 1 of Daniel Jones. This ain't year 2 of Daniel Jones. Like if anything, we should have saw progression. If you could blame the offensive line, do it. They've been terrible. You can blame the weapons. We don't have a real wide receiver 1. But I saw that offense look a hell of a lot more competent with Tyrod Taylor. Now you're going to say, well, Saquon was back. Yeah, pretty sure me and Brett kept the same energy all offseason, saying Barkley's more important. We should probably pay him, but he's a running back, so he's not going to get paid. And they paid the quarterback because, as me and Brett kind of threw our hands up, like, what the fuck are we going to do? Like, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, so I'm just saying, it didn't look like we missed Daniel Jones. It looked like we missed Saquon Barkley when he was out. And now I'm sitting here wondering, hoping we are, if the defense keeps playing as well, it's going to be a lot more complicated going forward in the coming weeks, as Jets fans has felt this whole season with their emotional roller coaster. I'm just here wondering and thinking that the best bet is to draft a quarterback in what's supposed to be a deep quarterback draft. It looks like we're going to be a top 10 draft pick again. So take one of the few quarterbacks that would be hypothetically be there if they are there. Let him sit behind Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones gets his second big contract year out of the way. If Daniel Jones plays great and we have a QB controversy, that's a great controversy where we have two good guys. What are we going to do? Trade one. That's what you're going to do. I hope it's the right one. That's the history of the NFL. So that's what I think the best case scenario is, short of some, to date myself, Tim Tebow-esque run to the playoffs this year.
Well, the problem with that theory is, realistically, if you're not going to get Caleb Williams or Drake May, you're probably going to get an offensive lineman or a wide receiver.
We'll get the most overrated center in the draft. That's the Giants' way.
Pat, there's wide receivers you can get. I mean, yes, a Bo Nix, a Michael Penix, they might be in the mix, but because, like you said, because your offensive line is so bad, because your receiving core is so bad, it's not like you guys are so desperate for a quarterback that you just got to take a quarterback. I feel like it's either Caleb Williams, Drake May, or you're not going quarterback. So that's kind of.
I just feel like there's plenty of season left. And I don't know how I get shit for being the overly optimistic Giants fan when I'm sitting here saying, like, I don't see this run. Like, that's what I'm saying to everybody. I don't see the run happening. And I think the best bet, because, again, the Daniel Jones truthers out there will just praise wins when they are garbage and say that I'm just negative. On Saquon Barkley, drafting quarterbacks, running back second, and all that bullshit. Sure. But, like, the quarterback's supposed to be good by now, too. Like, this is what he is. And I'm not saying, like, dude can't play football professionally. Like, we've seen him win a playoff game. Like, that dude is going to get paid. They're not in the National Football League, in the Canadian Football League, or whatever the hell the XFL and USFL become. Dude can be a professional football player. I just don't think he's going to be – he would be Brock Purdy if he was on the Niners, but I don't have the patience or the faith in Giants ownership to build that team with Daniel Jones on the roster.
Good point.
Like, he got a neck injury, man. Like, the crazy part is football racism. Apparently, like, Daniel Jones is just he's only had one healthy season. It was last year. Every other year he's gotten an injury and missed a couple games. And he's a run first quarterback, as me and Brett have said, for his entire career. Like, and now he's injured with a neck injury. Like, how come the logic for other players don't apply to Daniel Jones? Like, he's not going to stay healthy unless he becomes something he isn't, which is a pocket passer.
I agree. All right, let's move on. Yeah, I just think you guys are between a rock and a hard place, because, again, I just don't see where you lose enough games to get now. Obviously, there's still a lot of season left. Anything can happen. We thought Houston was a lock to get the number one pick last year, and they weren't. So who knows? But I just think you guys got to jump a lot of teams. And even the Cardinals, you beat the Cardinals. So if y'all have the same amount of wins, they get a pick before you. And they're thinking about moving over Kyler Murray. So I just think it's going to be very hard to get those top two quarterbacks. But at the same time, like you said, you don't want to mess around and win a bunch of games and screw up not getting another great player that can help you. So I don't know. I really don't know what the best option is. Hold up. Oh, there you go. Up.
Oh no, go back to this jag right here.
Oh, good. I'm glad you know about this. All right. So the 2020 wide receiver class was supposed to be legendary. with 13 receivers selected in the first 2 rounds alone. Um, so far, a lot of those names are still in the NFL, but they haven't kind of shined the way we thought. Now, granted, let me put some perspective on this. This is not the 2007 draft class. If you remember the 2007 wide receiver draft class, that also was supposed to be this legendary, can't miss receiver prospect class, and really only Michael Crabtree and Jeudy Nelson emerged from that class. But if you remember the 2020 class, it was talked about that as well. And it's been very similar. Just like in 2007, the Raiders picked their first receiver and took Darius Hayward-Bay. And in this one, the Raiders picked their first receiver and took Henry Ruggs. In that same draft, the freaking Steelers selected Limas Sweed in the second round, who's supposed to be this big, tall, fast receiver with upside. And in 2020, we took Chase Claypool, who's supposed to be this big, tall, fast wide receiver with upside. Neither one of them has really panned out. So there's a lot of similarities in this class.
I mean, you buried the lead, sir. Like the two names that really stick out that were drafted after Jerry Jeudy, who I will admit I was super high on, Roll Tide and all that. We thought he was the clear wide receiver one coming out of that ridiculous Bama core of Jeudy, Waddle,
right. And that's what I'm getting to.
But CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson, like they were drafted after Jeudy.
Well, yeah, and even Rieger was drafted after. He's been a complete bust. But Jerry
Brandon
Jeudy,
Ayuk was also drafted.
yeah,
and people are going to make fun of me for saying that, but the dude, has had a solid career on the Niners. T. Higgins, Michael Pittman Jr. I'm just trying to name the guys that Steelers legend Chase Claypool.
Well, I just said Chase Claypool. Yep.
Steelers legend Chase Claypool.
Sure, he's legendary. He's legendary. All right, he's top 3 receiver in the league according to him. But Jerry Jeudy, you're right, was supposed to be him and CeeDee Lamb specifically. Those were the 2 guys that were supposed to be the next superstars in the league. Those were the 2 guys like, hey, who's wide receiver 1 in this class? Is it CeeDee Lamb? Is it Jerry Jeudy? You brought it up. He's supposed to be the next Jerry Jeudy is supposed to be the next Alabama legend. I mean, Alabama, LSU, Ohio State. If you draft a receiver from one of those schools, they're supposed to be really good. And ironically, Justin Jefferson has probably been the only guy out of that class who has been an absolute superstar. And he was one of the last picks in that first round. So a lot of people messed up on that one. And so, both have been in the news for the last week for being less than stellar. Now, CeeDee Lamb backed it up with a 10-catch, 117-yard performance on Monday night after Jerry Jones came out and said, look, we got to get him the ball. We got to get him more touches. But there's been a lot of talk about, is he a wide receiver 1? Does he need somebody around, next to him? Because he was shining with Amari Cooper next to him. But since Amari Cooper has been gone, CeeDee has kind of been hit or miss.
But the biggest CeeDee one was Jerry, a home run wide receiver too, and I mean that respectfully. I know I'm the Cowboys hater out of the 2 of us, but I think respectfully speaking, if the Cowboys offense want to be like scary, CeeDee's your number 2, which is easier said than done. But what you just said, I'm happy they traded him. What's his face to the Browns? Thank you. You made our lives easier. Not me, mine particular, because I'm a Giants fan and we've been trash lately. So, but everybody else in the NFC has been very happy about it. Jerry Jeudy is this is a bad look with him and Steve Smith. Let's be real. Let's cut to the chase, bro. Because
wait. Hold on. As the Panthers fan here, I need to set the scene. For those of y'all who don't know, Steve Smith, the greatest Panther of all time, in my opinion. He's the greatest Panther of all time, in my opinion. He's definitely on the Mount Rushmore without question.
No, he's a valid. Anyone that acts like that's crazy, you just said that. I know how old they are because they're not old enough to remember Steve Smith. Because right. He's like, because listen, I love Cam, but Steve Smith exists. So
yeah, so he's on the Mount Rushmore with Julius Peppers and Cam maybe, and then
no, it's definitely Cam. Cam is the best quarterback that franchise has ever had.
Fair, absolutely. So anyway, Steve Smith,
D'Angelo Williams would be the 4th, by the way.
Who?
D'Angelo Williams
over CMC. over Luke Kuechly. That's what I'm saying.
Fuck, it's got to be no. So okay, so Cam and Steve Smith, and then Luke Kuechly and Pepper's got to be the.
Yeah, it's probably the four.
That's got to be the four because you got
That's
two
yeah.
offense too. Because CMC is great, but he's not over Steve Smith, and you got to have the GOAT quarterback of the organization on the organization's Mount Rushmore. Like,
I mean, unless you're the Bears, because then it's like, well, who's the
well,
GOAT?
who is your quarterback?
All right.
Fuck the Bears. I don't know why this is a Bear roasting session.
I'm just saying, unless you don't have a GOAT quarterback to even put in the conversation. But anyway, Steve Smith was on NFL Network before the Thursday night game against the Denver Broncos and Kansas City Chiefs. And he does what Steve Smith does, right? Anybody that doesn't know Steve Smith, he's going to say what he feels. It's not for likes. It's not for clicks. That's just how he has always been. It's one of the reasons why I became a Panthers fan, because I watched that dude play. And I'm like, yes, absolutely yes. Dude was 5'9", but he always played the biggest. I remember when he played your Giants, right? Homeboy broke his arm and still ran for a touchdown and was talking shit as his arm is dangling. And I'm like, yo, this guy's just awesome. Like, that's who Steve Smith is. And now that he's retired, he takes that's the funny thing. He takes the analyst stuff seriously. And I know that's weird for people because the way he talks and stuff like that, but he loves breaking down film. Like,
he's good at his job. Like, I don't know what people want. Like,
yeah, if you watch his YouTube channel, like that's all he does is just break down wide receiver film and talk about what he likes and what he doesn't like. So he had said that, he thought Jerry Jeudy needed to step up. This was a guy with a first-round pick. He was supposed to be like the face of the franchise. He hasn't been that. And then he went to apologize to Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy was like, nah, I ain't really messing with you, had some choice words. And so Steve Smith had an all-time Steve Smith moment. And called him a jag, just a guy. And he said, you're a tier 3 wide receiver. And if anybody were to call me, aka the Panthers, because there's been rumors that the Panthers want to trade for him, if anybody were to call me and say, hey, should we trade for this guy because we want your expertise at the wide receiver position, I'm gonna tell them no.
And mind you, in every tangible way, Steve Smith is better at the same profession that Jerry Jeudy is. Like, so it's one of those things where this isn't some random coach, random pundit, another position guy, or even like a Richard Sherman, who, mind you, played wide receiver too, but he's just a Hall of Fame cornerback. Like, it's not even a defensive guy picking on an offensive guy or a special teams guy or a backup quarterback like Orlovsky. You can't do, or a guy like us that never played. You can't play that shit here. He broke you down in a constructive way, and you had an immature reaction to it with a guy who is like a Dion of his generation, like a Jerry Rice of his generation.
He's a Hall of Fame. Now, whether he'll get into the Hall of Fame, we don't know, because the NFL is really hard to get, especially for the wide receiver positions for some reason. But this dude is a Hall of Fame receiver.
He's an all-time football player, period. We can sparse where you want to rank him in the GOAT conversation of wide receivers, sure. But as far as respected players go, he's Michael Strahan. You know what I mean? Like you could hate the Giants. I don't know a Giants hater that doesn't respect Michael Strahan's football opinions. Listen, bro, we all know he's biased for the Giants. That's part of his shtick. But he's like Big Papi in baseball. You know, I don't know nothing about baseball, but respected opinion is respected opinion. So I can't imagine a dude like Jerry Jeudy when what you did, your peak of whatever your football career is, happened at Bama, not in the pros. Like, you can tell us that, hey, the best is yet to come, and we hope so. But I'm one of those fans that wanted my team to trade for Jerry Jeudy to be the wide receiver one. And this year, all he's doing is making me happy we didn't, and proving all those Daniel Jones truthers and stuff that I was just making fun of super right for making fun of me for wanting to give up a pick for this guy.
Yeah, he just hasn't been that good, unfortunately.
No, he's been just like that. The most annoying part is usually when they say jag, it really is like the N-word of football, because they usually say it like in the most disrespectful of ways towards somebody, and in a way that it's just like obvious disrespect. Like, that guy is obviously not just another guy level, right? This is one of those instances where it's like, no, dude, your numbers are anybody can put them up.
Yeah, and again, you're a guy that's a first-round pick. And it's one of those things where he's starting to get into bust level. Again, it's funny. Like, so for me personally, if anybody knows how, when I think of bust, it's not just about where you were picked in round or whatever. It's what you were compared to what your hype was. So when we look like a guy like Jalen Reagor, who's obviously a bust because he can't even like stay on the NFL team anymore, that was picked in the same round. To me, Jerry Jeudy's more disappointing and a bigger quote unquote bust because again, he was supposed to be the next NFL superstar. Like that's what he was like. Honestly, he was supposed to be what Justin Jefferson is, right? Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson was supposed to be the guy that was just like, yeah, he'll be a good player. No, Jerry Jeudy was supposed to be just what Justin Jefferson currently is.
Period. No, that's it. That's absolutely right. We thought that this dude would be in the conversation for one of the GOAT Bronco players, one of the best players to ever play wide receiver for the Denver Broncos. The Brandon Marshall level expectations. Because again, and I don't remember if this was on wax or not on wax, but me and you have brought up Brandon Marshall in references just to wide receiver since like the year 2000 or the year 2020. And Brandon Marshall is called like a bunch of things besides great when that dude had stats that are very similar to your favorite ABs in regards to 1,000-yard seasons.
Yeah,
Like that
I
dude,
think he's the only guy in NFL history to have 1,000-yard seasons for 4 different teams.
some ridiculous. He's one of the best wide receivers of his generation, point blank, period. And if there's a better Bronco that I'm forgetting at wide receiver, again, wide receiver, I know there's a great tight end, assholes. I'm saying at wide
Yeah,
receiver.
we're not talking about Sterling Sharp
Yeah,
or
like
Shannon
like
Sharp. Shannon Sharp, sorry.
Demarius Thomas, Demetrius Thomas, whatever, man. I'm from Jersey. like it was D. Thomas. I had him in fantasy. He was amazing. Like and that's about it. There's GQ dude became a Jet. He's another great Broncos wide receiver. He was with Thomas forever.
I don't remember.
The pretty boy, white boy,
Oh.
Eric Decker. Thank you.
Yes.
Real time stoner memories happening like that. I'm going back to 2015, a simpler time.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. The point is, these guys got to step up.
Well, that's how that's like. This is why me and Brett are sincere when we say we try to not be too negative because all he did was put Jerry Jeudy on the screen, and we never doing our damn best not to just start roasting how mid this guy's career has been. His best season is under 1,000 yards in 3 years. Brett is being kind because by anybody's definition of bust, if you're drafted in the first round and you don't break 1,000 yards in your first 3 seasons as a wide receiver, you're a bust. If you're a seventh round pick and you have his stats, everyone's like, "Oh, what a great career!" It's expectations. He wasn't Josh Gordon. He didn't come from Baylor as a good wide receiver. He was the wide receiver on the Alabama team, like a dynastic
and what was
Alabama
supposed to
team.
be the wide receiver class.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be the wide receiver of the wide receiver class, and he's not that. Like, there's arguments to be made. He hasn't been the wide receiver one on the Broncos his entire career.
He hasn't. I mean, Cortland Sutton has been better.
Yeah, and that's not supposed to be the case. So whatever, man. Until this might be the last Jerry Jeudy slide ever, because at this point in time, he is just a guy.
Period. Okay, let's talk. Let's go back to that New York Jets win. Why? I don't know why you're shaking your head. The Eagles lost. You should be happy.
I am happy. I just don't want to talk about him. Fuck them. We already talked about the Jets.
Well, all right. The Eagles were stunned by the New York Jets on Sunday, giving them their first loss of the season. Despite the 5-0 start, there have been some questions about their offense and the way they've been playing. Besides the tush push, and DeAndre Swift has been a godsend fine for them. They just haven't been playing as well. They kind of gotten away with playing some bad teams to start the season. Their schedule going forward is crazy. It's insane. So we're about to see. But here was a crazy stat, and I wanted to throw this out there because you are a Jalen Hurts believer. As much as you hate the Eagles, you've always defended Jalen Hurts. He's never won a game when he's thrown the ball more than 40 times.
That's insane.
So
he almost won a Super Bowl. Like, I think that's one of those. That's a really fucking irrelevant stat given what we know about him. The big games he's played in his career, going from Alabama. This is a great segue. Going from Alabama and finding success, unlike the aforementioned person on the last slide, and I mean in college and in the pros, obviously. I just think that's a meaningless stat. It's interesting. It could be an indicator going forward, but it's not an indication of any real success in regards to Jalen Hurts. The dude almost won a Super Bowl. Like, I know I'm the guy that'll be like, almost doesn't matter. It only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. You can tell I grew up with vets in the house. Like, but like, let's be real. Let's like objectively, the reigning NFC champions. Okay, yeah. So you're telling me they were the best team in football, and he didn't have to throw that many times?
Well, I mean, yeah,
I'm just saying, look how
they were. I think they were the number one rushing team in the league last year, and so
yeah,
and also remember, to be fair and just put it in context, there were questions about Jalen Hurts before he got AJ Brown, right? And so again, this is another reason why the Daniel Jones truthers will say, let's get him a real receiver and see what he is then, because it has been proven in the NFL. You get a guy a bona fide wide receiver, it changes everything. Tua, once he got Tyreek Hill, the Dolphins have been amazing. Jalen Hurts went from maybe we should replace him to he would have won the MVP last year had he not gotten hurt once he had AJ Brown. So that is kind of a, now granted, I also want to be very, 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 we're journalists. We try to keep it as unbiased as possible. The sample size is very small. I think there's only been like 4 or 5 games where he's thrown over 40 times. So it's not like we have like a 10 to 15 game sample size. It's like, yo, man, you can't be throwing a ball like that. That's a cause for concern. It's only like a 4 or 5 game sample size, if I remember correctly.
5-1. Like, I want to hate on the Eagles, dog. That's why I looked at this side. Like, what do we do? What? Like, I just went at my team hard. So like, I don't need to. I'm not one of those guys that now I need to get back at my rivals because my team sucks type of guy. Like, don't get me wrong. I love shitting on the Eagles. I do. It's one of my favorite things. And I love shitting on the Cowboys because fuck them. It's one of my favorite things. Fuck the Cowboys. And like, this is one of those things where it's like, I feel like if I want people, like we were talking off wax earlier, if I want people to defend what I think is objectively good players like Eli Manning, right? Like against ridiculous random stats that just are like, see, he's not that good. There's a universe where this guy has a ring already. And it's all meaningless because if Jalen Hurts were to win a ring last year, he already had one of the greatest football careers between high school, college, and pros of anybody ever. So like, it's one of those things where they're 5-1. They just lost to the Jets. It was a good game. He was going up against a good defense. I'm reluctant to call them great, but they're right there. They got the young talent to be great. So they might be great. We might be seeing a version of the Jets that are going to be great for the next 3 to 5 years. And we're going to be like, holy shit, the Jets defense, right? I just don't. I can't off one game. Nah, I can't.
Well, that's why I said they have. That's why this last one is more important. They have a very tough schedule. We're gonna see.
No, I hope they suck. I hope they lose every game going forward. Like, I hope I come back and was like, yeah, wow, remember when we thought Jalen Hurts was good? Like, that's what I hope happens. Like, I'm just saying, I would be lying if I said that's what I think is going to happen. I hope the Eagles suck and they burn in hell. Like I don't care for this team at all.
He hopes they're roasted by Thanksgiving.
I hope by Thanksgiving the NFC East is such a dumpster fire. Misery loves company. I hope the Commanders are on top.
Oh, so you guys want to be the NFC East again? I'm all for it.
Yeah. Oh, if I'm on the bottom, I don't give a. Oh no, my division's getting hated on. I'm at the bottom. I don't care. I don't like I always told you, I don't care that much about divisions. I like talking shit to my rivals like anyone else. But the people that are like, we got the most division championships. How many times have you won the conference title game? Shut up. Exactly. Empty fucking banners.
And this comes from you talking about, but give the in-season tournament a chance. No, see?
Yeah, but that's a different sport. That's a different sport. That's a different sport completely. And the in-season tournament isn't a division title. I never was like, woohoo, Atlantic Division titles with you. Fuck off. Like, with your fake ass equivalency. When the fuck did we ever celebrate a division title? And we're Nets fans.
First of all, we haven't won a division title in 20
That's my point, but we never were like, woo, division. Fuck out of here, bro. Every dog.
Anyway, the Browns threw on some sick uniforms and made the San Francisco fans even more sick when they shocked the then undefeated 49ers. Even more sickening was the injury to Debo Samuel and CMC. This is where we're going to see the brilliance of Kyle Shanahan. Will Brock Purdy continue to light up the league, or will those injuries expose both him and Kyle? Listen, I want to give Brock Purdy props because he did lead them down the field for what could have been the game tying, I think, or game winning field goal. I forgot what the final score was, but the kick would have at least tied the game, if not won it. Kicker just missed it. Rookie kicker, first big time kick, missed it. So I'm gonna give Brock Purdy props when props is due. However, the offense did struggle once Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel were out. Um, as of this record, I'm not sure if we know the sincerity of how bad those injuries are going to be or how long they're going to be out for. But if they're out for the next couple of weeks, it's going to be interesting. Like the San Francisco 49ers have been looking like the best team in football this year, and now we'll see. You know,
I mean, you said it all. The only thing I like it. It sucks seeing CMC and Debo go down. Like I feel like that goes without saying. Like, yeah, we got my team has some lingering decades old rivalry with the Niners. But with that said, like I've always liked the Niners as like they're the team I love to hate because I like them being good. I hated when they sucked. I really like when T.O. left and in the dark days of Vernon Davis's early career, it was just not good for football. Like all like in my life, when the Niners are good, football's better. It's just one of those franchises that it feels like that. And these two injuries, especially after the confrontation at the beginning of the game when they were talking all that shit, it's a bad look because they were talking hella shit to the Browns players. They were talking hella shit to every team, and it sucks because we like to see people talk shit and we like to see them play at their fullest potential. And if they play and they beat the people still, that's amazing. But now if they lose, it'll always have that asterisk like, hey, they were dealing with an injury though. So like, because and these are two of the biggest. This is the 1-2 punch. This is what you're scared of. At the end of the day, this is the Niners offense. Like Purdy, Ayuk, the run game, yeah, sure. But and all the disguises, I feel like I'm a bigger Kyle Shanahan defender than Brett is. So
shit,
like,
you got the benefit. I was playing with fantasy. George Kittle had one fucking catch. So you know what I mean? Like, so even as good as George Kittle is, you're right. Debo and CMC is what makes this offense go.
yeah, and the funny part about Kittle, man, like he's one of those players, diehard fans. He has some diehard fans out there. The Niners have huge fan bases. So that doesn't surprise me. But like, I just don't like. I remember a couple of years ago, especially with the Super Bowl, they were like Kittle or Kelsey, Kittle or Kelsey. I don't even feel like that's the conversation anymore.
No,
And Kittle had this cool run, but like for all the shit Raiders fans will give me for this next sentence, it sounds like Kittle was Jimmy G's dude more than the Niners do. You know what I mean? Like, but that could just be me. I'm not a dude watching every Niners game, so I might just be that might be my outside perspective. Um, Again, something what me and Brett were just talking about before we started recording was how different fan bases casually view certain franchises certain ways, and it's a very consistent thing across football because there's certain teams that me and Brett will never give the benefit of the doubt to, and there's teams that we hate that we just kind of believe. Like I talk a lot of shit about the Cowboys and Eagles. I trust the Eagles organization a hell of a lot more than I trust Jerry Jones. That's just me. My cowboy fan family will be super pissed at that sentence, but I'm just keeping it a buck. And when it comes to the Niners, if there's one team besides the Eagles in the NFC that have earned my trust that they'll figure it out and they'll be terrifying, it's the same team that we thought would suck 3 times over, and they've been to the Super Bowl as many seasons that we were like, they're not going to do nothing. So I don't know how we're going to count them out. No one saw Mr. Irrelevant becoming a household name. Yeah, Purdy's the guy that Daniel Jones truthers, to keep it consistent. Literally today on Reddit, we're saying, hey, if you switched out Purdy and Daniel Jones, Purdy would be trash and Daniel Jones would be lighting it up. And I'm just like, yeah, any competent quarterback can light it up on the Niners. That's kind of been their MO the last few years. Like, I don't feel like that's breaking news, and I don't feel like I ever said Daniel Jones wouldn't be, fucking awesome in Kyle Shanahan's offense. Like, big ass 6'5" run first quarterback. Yeah, Kyle Shanahan would be like, yes, money, please. Like he said, he'll be like, but like that's irrelevant. I think Kyle Shanahan has proven his worth as a head coach in the NFL, and I still see the NFC going through San Francisco.
Yeah, and just because I'm being nice, again, I said it. Those brown uniforms were fire. Congratulations to the Dog Pound for winning a game.
There has to be some type of fucking trolling slide coming up because he's being
No,
way.
no, no. I'm giving credit when credit is due. That was a hard fall. I watched that game. I watched it again. No Steelers, so I was watching a lot of other games. That was a good game. I'm just glad Nick Bosa's last 5 losses were to black quarterbacks. That's just all right.
America.
Fans are lucky this week. There's a nice lineup of games that should keep us entertained from Thursday to Monday. Starting with Jaguars and Saints. Both teams have kind of been up and down, but I'm hoping Thursday night's game is interesting. Falcons and Bucks division games are always fun, and Bijan Robinson has just been a must watch. Like, this dude's been as great as advertised. He's that exception. Like, you know what? Why do we take a running back this early? Well, when it's a guy like that, that's what you do.
I actually was in fantasy. I was deciding because my Jets defense is on a bye week. I pick up the Jags or the Bucks defense for this week because of what you just said. Look at it. You got a beat up offense or you got a run first offense. And anyone that plays fantasy knows, yes, the run first offense can kill you sometimes. But more often than not, if you're relying on that run, you get ahead and they have to start throwing. That could be a really good week in fantasy. So I'm hoping the Bucks, because I don't know what to make of the NFC South. I'm not going to make a comment about the Bucks or the Falcons because I don't fucking know what they are at all. I just don't like, and the Bucks are one of those teams where, again, we thought they were going to be a dumpster fire organization for decades, and they've been kind of competent, the last 20 years, just on an honest level. Their worst years include Josh Freeman to Jameis Winston, and Jameis Winston apparently needed eye surgery. So let's just be happy he didn't get eye surgery before, so Tom Brady could go prove that it's actually him and not Bill Belichick. Because I don't see the Pats on here. Oh wait, no, they're at the bottom. That's funny. Trash.
Yeah, the commies and the Giants. Those games, especially between you guys, division games, they always seem to come down to the wire. They always seem to end wacky. So that's something to just keep an eye on. It probably will come down to the wire again.
I don't hate Washington like the other guys, but this is the most frustrating sentence to read because it's so true. I'm so sick of playing these guys to the wire. We can never just stomp them out. Like, it's just, it really annoys me. And to be fair, they have a fucking Riverboat Ron is a good coach to me. Those guys play hard. They've been competitive with XFL quarterbacks, and Sam Howell's played better or at least comparable to Daniel Jones. So what are we talking about? And their pass rush should eat the Giants' offensive line for lunch. If I'm being objective, Chase Young and them boys should rack them up. Period. But we'll see, because if they're competent again and Tyrod Taylor looks competent again, then I'm going to come up here next week and we're going to have another conversation about, okay, so how bad is Daniel Jones?
Yeah. Chargers Chiefs, who doesn't love a good old fashioned Wild West shootout? Those games are always fun and exciting when Herbert and Mahomes get to going against each other. The Chargers will probably lose in a ridiculous fashion.
The Chargers will lose because they only play well in meaningless games.
Right, but that's okay. We just want the shootout. We'll do that. Lions and Ravens. Hey, look, the Lions look like they are for real. This is another good test for them.
Detroit.
And as a Steelers fan, I'm rooting for them to beat the Ravens. So this is going to be another good test to see how good they are. Dolphins and Eagles. Tua versus Hurts. Cheetah versus the Eagles defense. Mike
Tuesday versus Hurts.
Huh?
It says Tuesday, not Tua.
Oh shit! See, there you go. Every single week there's a typo that I miss, even though I reread this shit. But it's because, again, I be doing this shit at like 1 a.m. Sue me. Cheetah versus Eagles defense. Mike versus Nick. Sign me up, man. The two coaches that are usually good for good sound bites. Cheetah, I got it. That's another thing. Let me give Cheetah some credit. I've never thought he was that great, but as the weeks keep mounting, he keeps proving like, nah, bro, he's more than just like a fast receiver. He really is a game changer. And I'm going to give him his credit because I never put him. Yeah, I never put him in my top 5 receivers in the NFL. And that's only just a personal preference of mine. As you know, I don't like just the home run hitter type of guys. I like the more all-around receivers. But he's starting to be put in that conversation of best home run hitters ever, which is when you're talking about the Randy Mosses of the world and the Calvin Johnsons of the world, and he's starting to become one of those guys where it's like, yeah, he might just be a one-trick pony of like take a slant to the house, but he might be the greatest take a slant to the house player ever. So, you know what I mean? Like, I got to give him his credit. He's showing that, look, yeah, I'm fast, but I'm so fast that I'm just different from anybody else who's ever played the game. You put the ball in my hands, it's over. So I'm going to give him credit for that. Honorable mentions: Pitt versus Rams, maybe will be a good game. Niners and Vikings, maybe will be a good game.
Ain't nobody checking for that Pitt versus Rams game, bro.
Yeah, nobody is except for Steelers fans. I just do it. That's why I put honorable mentions. Bills versus Pats is always
Niners
fun.
Vikes could be good. Not even being that
Yeah,
guy, but
Niners Vikes could be very good. Bills Pats only because we just like seeing the Patriots lose, and this is another opportunity for them to lose. So
about time. About time the Pats suck.
yeah, so that is the video. You can find me at Never for Brett. That's NEVA underscore the number 4 BRETT underscore ME on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads.
Not the Chuck D on all the socials at the underscore dope blog on Instagram, the dope blog, all one word on Twitter, and www.thedope.blog.
As
And
you're
I'm just
watching this on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe, and join us next time as we continue to discuss other people's excellence.
we got to do that wide receiver pod, bro. We got to do it.
Yeah. That's kind of what the Jerry Jeudy one was supposed to get into, but we ended up just trashing him for the whole time, which is fine with
Oh
me
no,
too.
we're still going to do it, but I just want to do it at like let people know that's what we're talking about because it gives us a reason to shit on some dudes that we just want to shoot strays at really, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good, and we can hear all of your terrible takes of who you think is better than actually good wide receivers. So it'll be interesting.
Listen, we'll be discussing other people's excellence. Don't worry about it. Deuces.
Peace.